says that we should read this every single day for 30 days. You'll probably have it memorized. I'm gonna read it. I'm terrible at reading out loud, so just be patient with me. So mastery is in one's career and consciousness growth simply requires that we constantly produce results beyond and out of the ordinary. Mastery is a product of consistently going beyond our limits. For most people, it starts with technical excellence in a chosen field and a commitment to that excellence. If you're willing to commit yourself to excellence, to surround yourself with things that represent this and miracles, your life will change. We speak of miracles, we speak of events or experiences in the real world which are beyond the ordinary. It's remarkable how much mediocrity we live with, surrounding ourselves with daily reminders that the average is the acceptable. Our world suffers from terminal normality. Take a moment to assess all the things around you that promote your being average. These are the things that keep you powerless to go beyond a limit you arbitrarily set for yourself. The first step to mastery is the removal of everything in your environment that represents mediocrity, removing those things that are limiting. One way is to surround yourself with friends who ask more of you than you do. Didn't some of your best teachers, coaches, and parents, etc., did they do that for you? Another step to the path of mastery is the removal of resentment towards masters. Develop compassion for yourself so that you can be in the presence of masters and grow from the experience. Rather than comparing yourself and resenting people who have mastery, remain open and receptive. Let the experience be like the planting of a seed within you that, with nourishment, will grow into your own individual mastery. You see, we are all ordinary, but a master, rather than condemning himself for his ordinariness, will embrace it and use it as a foundation for building the extraordinary. Rather than using it as an excuse for inactivity, he will use it as a vehicle for correcting, which is essential in the process of attaining mastery. You must be able to correct yourself without invalidating or condemning yourself, to accept results and improve upon them. Correct, don't protect. Correction is essential to power and mastery. So they want, the book suggests that we read that every single day. Read it out loud, read it to ourselves, post it where you can see it. They say people memorize it. After reading it every day for 30 days, I imagine you could recite it. I'm going to stop sharing the screen because there's more to see than this. So the book is broken down into 4 different things. There's personal mastery, stop selling, start solving, ninja business strategy, connect, and communicate. You can jump in. I don't have to hog the whole thing.
No, I was loving you doing it. I was just going to let you run with it. So we're breaking it up into principles. So the first one is personal mastery. And so we just kind of took out some key points. So in the principle number 1, they had 3 keys, and it was mindset, skill set, and your actions. Page 11, I think that was. Let's go to that.
Page 11. If you've got the book, talks about those 3 keys there.
And just about one of the quotes was, one of the most powerful methods to program your mind is to use positive affirmations stated in the first person. So like instead of saying, I want to be, or I want to weigh this much, for example, say, I enjoy weighing this much every day, or I enjoy closing 2 homes each month. Say it as like the present, like it's happening, like you're living it. And it just talks a lot about your mindset and how like nobody wants to work with a victim. Nobody wants to be around a victim, and people are going to tell that. Nobody will want to work with one. And he talks a lot about emotional energy and how your clients can read your energy and get that vibe from you.
Well, we've all been with someone who, we can all think of someone, right, that gives you the heebie-jeebie vibe, that you don't want to be around. All of us can think of someone who every time you see them, you walk away from them going, I don't know how they live like that, because man, that's just a lot of energy to live with.
And you really feel it, like
You
it
feel it in
dampers
yourself.
your mood, and you're just like, oh, that was draining to be around that certain person.
So energy
Exhausting.
vampires.
Energy, yeah, energy vampires.
So one of the things that I took away from this was to write these affirmations. So they want you to actually write your affirmations 25 times. And I have a book that I use. I carry my affirmations with me because sometimes I need to read them. But they go in my bullet journal. And I do them every day. So one of the other things that they talked about was writing a personal note, writing 2 personal notes. So that's one of the things we gave you your cards for. You can write 2 personal notes. We can take a second and do that. If you can at home, then maybe just make a note of it to do it later that you can send out. No, you're going to send them out to people. So you can, but this way you just kind of have it jotted down on what it is you want to say. If you want to put it on a different note card, I mean, really, technically, you could mail this as a postcard.
It's like in the spirit thank you notes, or
yep, a gratitude. Thank you. I was thinking of you. They were just personal. You know, I appreciate what you've done. It's a way to do this. So there was a book that was suggested, 365 Days of Gratitude. I wrote it down. Yeah, 365 Thank Yous. A simple act of daily gratitude changed my life. It's by John Kralik. It's listed in the book. And they talked about how every single day for a year, they wrote personal thank you notes. And they talked about how life-changing it was in their business. That if they couldn't do anything else in their business, this would be the one item they would keep, is these personal notes. Because people love to get personal notes. I know the personal notes that I get, I save them. I actually glue them in. I have another book in my bullet journal. So I glue them in. And sometimes when I'm really kind of feeling down and just need to be reminding myself that other people think I'm of value, then I can read those. So people really like to receive a thank you card. Even if it's just, I was thinking of you today and just wanted to let you know, and I hope you're having a great day. And it can be simple. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. So every single day we will, to start being a ninja seller, start with gratitude, start with positive reading, start with affirmations, and then write your personal notes. And so you write your affirmations 25 times and write 2 personal notes, and then check your email.
Yes.
We have friends here today. Little one friends.
That just are
What else?
such joys in my life.
Focus on expand.
Did we go over that?
Yeah, we talked some of that.
Yeah. The your non-conscious mind can't take a joke.
That's right. You describe that one.
So that goes along with what I was saying earlier. Like with your affirmations, like his example was, I enjoy weighing 175 pounds when he actually weighed 205 pounds. And at first he said the voice, his little voice inside of him argued with him, but he repeated it enough that the non-conscious began to believe that he weighed 175 pounds because it literally cannot take a joke. So that became his new program. And he just started modifying his diet and exercise over time. So it's just, you control that. And once you start saying that enough, you can't take a joke. I don't know.
So we can do the same thing though with, yeah.
Well, then one along with that is you guys were talking about the suckers and stuff like that. The same thing with you were saying, just can't take a joke. But if you're having a bad day, if you repeat to yourself, maybe you great, whatever it might be, you're not conscious.
I love that.
Your mindset will actually change.
Right.
That's what you focus on.
Yeah.
You obtain what you focus on. And if you focus on negative, you're just going to get negative. Pigs versus you're focusing on positive. You put yourself around those positive people. Become positive.
So I can tell you from personal experience how much this works. I was in a pretty traumatic relationship. Not that everybody wants the details on that, but getting out of that left me with zero self-esteem. I had none. And so my current husband, while we were dating, he come up with an affirmation, and it was really just words. And it was, what I was, and it was that I was smart and beautiful I was, and I didn't believe him in the beginning, but I mean, he wrote it everywhere. I carried it around. I still have it in my phone. He would email it to me. He would text it to me. He would ask me to repeat it to him. He'd write it on the bathroom mirror and dry erase marker. I mean, it was everywhere. And it started to become, I started to maybe believe him a little bit, that maybe I was someone that was pretty, and maybe I was someone that was smart, but it took time. And now I can say that I am those things. It's not a matter of conceit. It's just a matter of those are true, and I can accept that they're true. So that was really, really healing to focus on that positive aspect, because I had a lot of negative self-talk at that time. Yeah.
Strong and stupid, because if you tell it something, and like she was saying, it can't take a joke. If you tell it something's not true, it'll make it come true. So not stupid, but just extremely adaptive and smart. It's crazy.
Right. And everything it thinks is in the positive. So like this, I enjoy weighing 175 pounds that he said. It's not that I enjoy losing weight, because that's a negative. And so then your brain, all it hears is I enjoy extra weight. So it can't, it all has to be framed very, very positive, because whatever it is, it will eliminate all of the nots. It doesn't understand not or no or negative that way. It just understands reality, whatever that might be.
We can go over the four.
Yeah, let's go over the four questions. So the next ones, for stop selling and start solving. So how many times, this one for me was really enlightening. I have to tell you from a personal experience. I went to go get coffee in the morning on my trip, and just happened to talk to the lady, and I was like, I'm just going to try this out. Just totally going to try it out. And it's going to be, because I mean, it's a coffee lady. She can't hurt me. And so there's a counter between us and and I don't know her, right? She's in San Diego. Like, I'm not going to be around her later. I don't have to come and see her. And started asking her these Ford questions, which Ford stands for. Did you write down what Ford stands for? Oh, they're right there. Oh, okay. So Ford stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So asking them, it's not about you. It's all about them. So I just happened to ask her some questions. Gosh, what was it? Like, how's your family today? Or do you enjoy working here? And we kind of got on the topic of grandbabies. And she mentioned that they're coming to Twin Falls, of all places. And I'm like, because it just come out that I was from Idaho. And she said, oh, well, we're going to Twin Falls and we're looking for a house. And I said, really? I'm a realtor. So I handed her my card. I have him on the back of my phone in a little pouch, and handed her my card, got her name. And, I don't know if anything will come of it, but I was like, oh, that was kind of weird. It totally works. And it was just kind of, it was really off the wall that happened. And I had another one that was
one of those miracles talked about.
It was one of those miracles, yeah. Like, what are the chances that some lady in San Diego is going to be coming to Twin Falls, even has any idea? Most people are like, Iowa? I mean, they don't even know where you are.
You connect with that individual.
Yeah. So we talked more about grandbabies because it wasn't about me, it was about her. And so that's stop selling and start solving. I was open to being able to solve her problem of she didn't even know who to contact in Idaho for real estate information. And I said, well, there's my stuff. I mean, give me a call. I'd love to help. Let's see.
Wait, what did the R stand for?
R stands for recreation. So he wants us to have 50 conversations in a week, and that seems like a lot of conversations. But if you think about it, and he says this counts too, if you're going to like a soccer game with your kid and you happen to just meet somebody, the next parent sitting next to you, oh, hey, what position did your kid play? And then start talking to them about that. It doesn't necessarily have to always come back to real estate as long as you've asked some of these forward questions. If you start gathering information, because if you're listening to them, you're going to hear their needs. You're going to hear when, oh yeah, I just got a new promotion at work.
How many people in here know what active listening versus passive listening is?
I think we all know how many of us practice it.
It's our human instinct that while you're listening to somebody, automatically your brain goes to how am I going to respond to this question?
Right.
How can I add value to make myself look better? As salespeople, that's what we always have happen. Versus that's passive. I mean, that's kind of passive in my mind versus actively listening and saying, okay, I'm going to listen to what Brandy and Savannah are teaching. I'm going to interpret it, wait 2 to 3 to 5 seconds, even though it seems like an awkward pause, and then I'm going to respond. Instead of, while they're talking, men, I know this for a fact because I'm a man, we are very bad. That you want to fly back with a quick response.
Right.
Instead of listening to the entire thing, getting it all, and then responding, instead of only getting fully right and then responding. So with these forward questions, I think that helps us, and with those 50 conversations a day, it helps us break out of the habit of listening to respond rather than listening, interpreting, and then responding.
Right. And in the book, it really goes over more detail. It's hard to kind of to get to some of these. There's so much we could really spend. The training on this is a week long. So, I mean, we could spend some real in-depth time on each one of these. So we're just kind of really gloss on the surface here on this review. They talked about the different personalities. We do a lot with DISC here, and I know a lot of us come from a history of DISC personality testing. The personality test, it's not a test, but the personalities they discuss in the book, as you're reading it, you're like, oh, that's a D. Oh, that's an I. Oh, that's an S. So that's how my brain processes is what does it already know and how can I link these things up together? So as we read through those, learning who we're talking to, knowing our audience to know how to solve the problems. He talked about one situation, he went in and he was supposed to do a presentation on a commercial buy. This guy flew in, wanted to buy some property to build a store. And before he did anything, he said, so tell me about your store. Tell me about your business. How did it build? And so we just let the guy talk, right? I mean, this is all stuff that he knows off the top of his head. He can tell you how he built his business and how many stores do you have here? And he knew that hands down. And then he was kind of asking, what kind of things do you look for? Part of it, what he was looking for was the research that was already done. If he was to just reiterate stuff that he already had, the guy already had in his briefcase, he was going to lose him. But he was able to find one thing that was really a problem. The two things that they did, this was a women's clothing store. They would come and sit and watch women in a busy part of town, downtown or at the mall, and they would watch and see. And every woman that come across does that woman's style reflect our style? And do they think that woman could afford their clothing, their clothing line? And the other thing that they looked for was cows. They found that if they were in a rural setting, their stores didn't perform as well. But the way that they happened to come through town that day from the airport, they saw lots and lots of cows. And he's like, so here's the thing. Like, they just built that clear out there because they're anticipating growth that direction. So yeah, you saw lots of cows. When you go back, I want you to go this way instead. And so he sent him a different direction, which was really more urban and instead of so rural. And the guy actually ended up opening a store, and it was one of the top performing stores. And it was simply because he had listened to what the guy was talking about and that he didn't like cows I don't know how would you even think to say, well, what way did you come into town? But that just was on the top of his radar for him.
I also wanted to touch, when we were talking this morning, you were saying something about the proactive trusted advisor in the book.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was so good what you said this morning. Like, people call, they talk to their accountant every year, at least once a year. They have these professionals, their insurance agent that they trust, and they look to them. And so I just feel like as agents, like, to step up and give that yearly call of like, hey, this is what's going on in your market. Be that person, be their trusted real estate advisor. Have that knowledge and share that.
Yeah, if we want to stay, and to do that, it's more than just, we need to be talking to them more than once a year.
Right, exactly.
But once a year, we face-to-face meet with them. And then if they say they don't want to meet with us, that's okay. Mail them a packet of information and make sure it has value. So we were thinking that it would be like the most recent home sold in their neighborhood, maybe not a complete market analysis, but like an abbreviated market analysis of their home to kind of tell them, if we were to list your house today, this would maybe be where you're looking at. And then they talked about making sure that we were part of they did an 8x8. So once a week for 8 weeks, they talked to them in some way, shape, or form, by email, by phone, shot them a quick text, dropped something in the mail to them so they received it. So it was just kind of a communication with them. And he did it as an experiment because the guy had just bought a house. And he's like, did you like your realtor? And they're like, I like my realtor. And they gave her an absolutely glowing review. Well, he thought, I'm going to see. And so he did this for 8 weeks. He gave them an opt-out at week 4. Hey, if you don't want to receive this stuff, just let me know. Like, I won't send it to you. And he happened to meet with him as a kid's dad at a soccer game. Happened to meet with that dad again at another soccer game and was like, I was just going through and I was going to update your records. Who was it that you bought your house with? And he's like, I don't know. It was somebody and gave the wrong brokerage. He had forgotten the lady's name and and he got the brokerage wrong. So it's not like he could even come back to the brokerage right and be like, there was this lady, I don't know, she's short, right? I mean, he couldn't even describe her, really. He had forgotten all about that. But it was because he was top of mind. He was in what they called flow. He was in their flow. And that's who they were thinking about. And when they were thinking real estate, this guy came up. So we need to stay in flow with them. They do talk in the book how to stay in contact with people, ways to add value. On the website that I posted in the chat thing here, there's a bunch of other resources there. There's talks about, there's a business tracker, there's some of these other spreadsheets that they've come up with, or the forms that they've come up with. And
what is the email address?
It is www.ninjaselling.com/resources. So they've got some great PDFs on there too. I kind of moved into Ninja business strategy. That was some of the business strategy was, I didn't think we would get this far, honestly, because we were going to do a little more. Did you read the book, Sherry?
No.
No? Okay. I just want to know, like, tell me one of the things that you like the most about the book, Levi, since you were one that's read it.
Some of the stuff that stood out to me with the book is the way you handle your life is the same way you're going to handle business. That if your life is not in order, how do you expect your business to be? Like there's the example of the lady at the very first that just went through a divorce, had no money, had to move back in with mom, had like 3 kids or whatever, didn't have a dollar to her name, didn't know how she was going to make it, basically was going to give up on real estate, one-on-one listing appointment, and because she got out of her victim, I guess you could say, mentality that we were talking about earlier, she just was like, whatever, this is my last one, I'm just going to have some fun with it. She ended up selling amazing property to this lady, and then it rebounded to the point where she was, if I remember right, it was something like 10 transactions a month.
Yeah.
And within a year, she totally moved out of her mom's house, and it totally changed her life around, all because of one day in real estate. That how many days are there like that in our business? Even though I don't sell homes, I still.
But you still sell.
I still sell, and I still interact with agents, and your business impacts my business. And how many days do we view, holy hell, this market sucks. There's no homes on the market. I can't find people to buy. Can't find anything to list. What does that do to your business?
Right.
You're not going to attract a buyer with that mentality, or somebody that wants to list. If you walk into a listing appointment like, I'm sure there's 3 other people who've already been here, I'm not going to get this listing.
No.
Yeah, they don't want to work with you.
Right.
Versus if you walk in, hey, I am the best. I have the best strategic partners I work with. I know how to sell your home and the steps we need to go through. I am the ninja selling professional that you need to work with. People are going to look at that and they're going to want to go.
Right.
Yeah, most people said it's like about a year ago, Keller Williams brought in some guy, I don't remember his name, I sponsored him and everything, but he was saying how a lot of people, obviously 6% that people go with, well, this guy went in and asked for 10 on a home, on a transaction. Like, yeah, I work for 10% commission. Less. And they're like, oh, we would have thought you would ask for at least 12.
Oh, I remember him.
He was floored. He was like, I just asked for 10% commission on this. I got it, and they thought I was going to ask for 12. Well, people want to work with professionals, and they know there's a cost to work with them.
I think they go over that in the book, what's their percentage, like those that like want the
Yes.
sale.
It's
The
like-
80-20 and the
Yes.
90-10
I
and
thought that
the,
was pretty
You go to Walmart to buy shoes, they're going to last you a month or two. They're going
Right.
to hurt your feet. You're going to pay $20 for them. You're going to hate life. But you go buy a pair of Nikes or Adidas, they're going to cost you 5 times as much typically. But
yeah.
they're going to be comfortable. You're going to want to wear them, and they're going to last longer. So which one are you going to go with?
It's chapter 12, the power of focus.
Yeah, and adding that value, I think, to your, like, what
Mhm.
does set you apart, what makes you that 10%, figuring out ways to add that value.
I think one of the things that I really liked was what he talked about at open houses. How many times do we go to an open house and we print flyers of the house that they just toured? Say yes, because we all do it. I mean, I'm totally guilty. I do that.
All the scenes they just.
Good. I mean, I hand it to him. Here's okay, and I think that they want some of that too, right? They need some of the other stuff that you get. Like we need the square footage, and they want something to touch and hold, because what you're doing is you're appealing to all 3 kinds, right? The people that are auditory they're like hand it back to you and just say, just tell me about the house. And I've met those people. We've all met those people. Just tell me about it. I don't have time to read it. And then we have the people that are, they're visual, right? So they're going to later. And then there's the touch it, feel it people. And they're the ones that actually have to have the form. They have to have that piece of paper. They're measuring every room. I've been there. I've done this with clients. And I think my funnest one was that the fridge and the stove couldn't touch. That was her deal killer. Like we left houses because the fridge and the stove touched. Everything else was perfect, but no, we were out. So, I mean, everybody kind of has their own way that they perceive things and the way that they look at things. But one of the things that he talked about was taking recent sales. I was like, well, duh.
Or even homes in the same neighborhood that are comparative.
Right. So I was going to, so I have an open house coming up this weekend. And I thought, why don't we print out recent comparable sales? They're in here. They don't know the market. We're the experts. Why aren't we telling them how we've justified our price? If we can't provide them with 6 comparables right then, why should they offer us our asking price?
You might even put on the back or have it in there somewhere, maybe a couple of houses that are above and below. And
I'm not going to ever put them below.
What was that?
So why would you put?
I'm not going to put them below. I want them to come in at my
Right.
price. So I'm going to
But
show them
if
all of
they
them over.
are looking and they don't know and they go, oh, well, this is more of a house than we need.
Oh, well,
Do you see what
yeah,
I'm
but I'm
saying?
justifying my price on my home that
Right. I mean,
is
each their
coming.
own, but that's just
So,
some
yeah.
other information that could be provided.
So yeah, that was one of those that I was like, well, that adds a lot of value. And it was so simple.
Right. One little change.
Yeah, and it doesn't take me any longer to run a sold sheet. I mean, we can run a sold sheet through Navica that fast. You just put the dates. You can put the dates and put the subdivision in and say, okay, send me all the solds. And I thought I'd just print that page because I'm a licensed agent. I can give that information out. So it's not private. Oh, there's a question. Are you guys able to hear the comments from the room? I can a little better now, Amanda said. Okay.
I thought of two, we were gonna ask to, I don't know if we're brainstorm like some ideas.
Oh, yeah. So, and we can do that. No, I've kind of ended up jumping around a little bit. So one of the things that they want us to do is to make weekly touches. I'm going to kind of, that's in connect and communicate too. So ways that we can, and it's a combination of art and science. So some people are going to be all about the fun, right? They want just what's going to be a good time. So one of the ideas that I had was for our area, especially the Chuckers games. I think I spelled that wrong. The Chuckers game list or game schedule. Because those are fun. And then two, if you want, if it's a time that you want to send something in one of those 8x8 touches, or you happen to know that they really like baseball or they have kids that might enjoy it, the tickets.
That goes back to your forward questions right there.
Right. So you're listening.
Asking those, you're listening to Austin when you're trying to sell Austin a house. And you know, we don't have him with him. He has 3 kids that are baseball, actively involved in sports.
So there's actually a form in here. The one guy hands it to them at some point during the process and asks for page 163, the names, birth dates, kids' birth dates, wedding anniversary, email, favorite local restaurant, and favorite sports team.
How many of you have ever sent out, sends out like an anniversary or birthday card?
Right, but how many? It's because I think we don't know it. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of asked. I'm kind of.
Social media.
You can find a lot of them on social media, but there are people like my husband. He shuts that off, so you can't see it.
Yeah.
But I think that sometimes, I know this is one of my things, is that I worry that it's too personal. Because I don't know that I necessarily want somebody else to ask those questions of me. When's your birthday? Why? Why? Why do you want to know my birthday? But that's because I'm suspicious, right? So that's me, it's my hang up.
Because you're uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
Does it stretch you to become better? Or are you using it to put yourself
No, I mean, that was my epiphany moment asking these, and the guy like just had a little fun card. I mean, you could have it right on this card. Hey, yeah. Hey, can you just take a minute and can you fill these questions out? And I know it seems silly. I just update my database, and I just like to send out birthday cards. It's like one of my things. How hard is that to ask?
What are they saying they do it? First appointment or anything like that?
He didn't say. At some point, he just says, at some time during the buying or selling process, he uses this form. And he does it for his post-closing touches. And when he gets the card back, he literally goes to his calendar and types them all in. And then, so like 3 days before, he calls the husband and says, you know, your wedding anniversary is in 3 days. And then the day of the wedding anniversary calls the wife. Hey, happy wedding anniversary. And the same and then calls her 3 days before his birthday. Hey, do you remember it's his birthday in 3 days? So, I mean, that's what and as you read that, he's like calling and reminding them, because nobody wants to get caught in trouble, right? I know my parents, it's a game to see who can remember first. Could you imagine if somebody was cheating and calling them? Of course, my mom was their agent, so. But I thought, that's so genius, and that pushes me outside of my comfort zone to ask for it, but it was not hard to ask for. That was just put it in, and if you're asking the Ford questions. So what's some other ideas of how we can do a weekly touch?
I thought about like sending like sounds, like when to plant your garden, what vegetables.
Oh.
When.
I like that idea.
Housekeeping tips, when to winterize your spring, when to, all that kind of stuff that people don't get in their mind.
What to plant. I like that. Winterize. When to de-winterize. When to fertilize.
Maybe local, like lawn, like as it becomes spring, like people you recommend like to take care of their lawn. Like I always see people on Facebook, like who's someone that mows lawns, maybe live here.
My only caveat to that is you have to be careful. We have to be careful with, well, she said that they were awesome, and then they come out and they trash my system. So I would say anybody that you're going to do that with, that you have a really good standing relationship, and that you verify that they're in good standing in their business. You know, they have liability, they have their own E&O type insurance, so that they're covered, so that if they do mess it up, it's not you that goes down with the ship, because there's nothing worse than giving a bad referral. But I like the idea. So maybe business, Brandy, or cooperating businesses. Let's see, what else?
That goes along. I read something in the book too. This triggered people only refer people to make themselves look good.
Right.
So, like, I'm only going to refer someone if you help. That'll make me look good. I recommend that. That's what we do. So, agents need to make sure that we're
right. I was thinking, like in November, send out a calendar, because everybody needs a new calendar for the year. Let's see. Oh, museum schedules. What the museum is doing. And then also like Artie. This is all hyper local. I don't know what all is in Pocatello.
The zoo.
The zoo. Well, the zoo does events. So one of the things I've started doing is clicking interested in all kinds of events on Facebook. My husband's like, do I have to take you to all these things? I'm like, no, you don't. But I want him to come up because there might be somebody in my Facebook sphere that might be interested in that. And if I click interested, it pops up and says, hey, Brandy was interested in this. And then it shows up on their stuff, but then also too gives me fodder for emails that I want to send out.
Yeah.
Like some night, tomorrow night,
Oh yeah. Now that's totally different.
that popped popped up.
Now we're talking about alcohol. That's a whole other game, and yes, I'm really interested in that.
It's a live after 5 that started, right?
Mhm.
Was that yesterday? Did I already miss the first day? Oh,
Did they-
hey, come on. Why did you do this?
The farmer's market?
Golf.
Oh, yes. See, I'm not a sports girl, so I don't think that.
East Idaho Fair, the different like concerts that are coming to the fair.
The concerts and events that they have.
Yeah, Fort Hall with all their events they do.
Oh, that's a good one. Fort Hall events.
Even concerts over in Boise.
Yeah.
The place that was named for the
Oh.
Waterfront.
Waterfront. The downtown event center. Here's one I come up with. Anybody who has young kids and they come home with the, hey, I was awesome and I want a free Sunday. I'm like, how do I get those? So from like McDonald's gives out those certificates. So I don't know if you have to be a teacher, but I thought, well, I could call McDonald's. I can make a phone call.
Hey, I want to send all my real estate clients. Thank you. Help you drum up business. It never hurts if you don't ask. You don't
The worst they're going to do is tell me no.
I know that there's an ice cream place around town that you can buy gift cards at half price for that purpose.
Oh, uh-huh.
So you can buy a $5 gift card for $2.50.
Right, and I didn't know if they had to pay for those or if McDonald's saw them
And I
as a
don't know-
write-off for the
I don't know
school.
about McDonald's,
I've seen them for like
but
McDonald's.
yeah,
I've
Even,
seen,
like, the state farm guys will have them there.
yeah,
Like when they're doing.
yeah, and you just write a name on it, and hand them out. You just hand them out, right? And then inevitably, mom and dad's probably going to order a cheeseburger. So I mean, the chances of it just being just that, but still, I mean, it brought you in some. For real estate, the Finally Homes classes.
Freedom homes too.
Oh yeah.
By the way, you just buy your Don't feel bad about your $100,000 house you just bought. I'm gonna send you the $1 million one.
Sheesh. Right. Just listed, just sold, symphony update, happy house birthday, your blog update. If you do go with the vendor, if you have a featured vendor, then are they going to offer you a discount?
or some special service.
Yeah, something. Or will they come and do a free bid if they normally charge for that? What are you? Yeah, just kind of being in touch with, but having a stack of them and just partnering with them and say if somebody comes in and says, hey, Brandy sent me in, will you give them a 10% discount or 5% or whatever it might be? Do you have a question? Or just tired? Never mind. Okay. Any other ideas?
Question.
Yeah.
These sorts of things, is it a phone call? Is it a
Yes.
pop by?
Yes.
Is it so just kind of a blend of things and you just
It
go and
is.
take care of it?
It is, and it talks about it in the book, that it's not just emails, but it's connecting and communicating with them. So you can use them. They want to touch it every week,
That can also be on your question card. How do you prefer communication?
and it is.
Phone
That's on
call,
one of the
text,
questions. Yeah.
Email. And some people don't want to be called. I hate when the phone rings.
True, but I did
Especially
like what he
online.
said once we go under contract, there's some things that I want to make sure that we communicate effectively on, and so I'm going to need to be sure I talk to you on the
But
phone.
I'm saying after
Yeah.
the fact, like with your post follow-ups.
Yeah.
How do you prefer I follow up with you after the fact? to make sure-
Right, because if I got a phone call every single week from my real estate agent, that's annoying. Even if they don't open the email, it doesn't matter if they open the email or not. See, that's the other thing. It doesn't matter if they open the email or not. All that matters is they go, oh, Brandy sent me another email.
It's a trickle effect.
It is. And then when somebody says, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house. Oh, I know an agent. It's just top of mind stuff is all it is. It doesn't matter if they click, if they open, if they read it, if they actually use the discount. It doesn't matter. None of that. That's all gravy. So that's why if you can kind of get them automated and send them to your database. They talked about maintaining our database. You should be maintaining your database. Have it on your schedule once a week, minimum. All the little scraps of paper, all of our notes that we have. Yeah, and then so the hot leads and the warm leads. Hot leads are ones that are going to buy in the next 1 to 3 months. They're ready, they're looking. Warm leads are in the next 6.
Going along with that, I have the whole state of Idaho, so I have like 10,000 agents that I deal with.
Holy
I
crap.
have what I call my ABC list,
Yeah,
but I group them into buckets. Then my A list are people I've never talked to, never done business with, but I'm still going to try to get. They're the ones that are going to need a little bit more fun. The B bucket are people that I've done business with, that I've met with, that I have a relationship with. It's not consistent business. So I'm going to focus quite a bit on them because they're hot. They're obviously interested
Right.
in what I need to nurture their business. And then C bucket are the people that, like you guys would put into, you've sold them a home.
goes on our
It
contracts.
goes on, yeah, you're already
Freedom
done,
home warranty.
that sort of thing. It's in there for you so that you can have that trickle effect follow up with them. But they don't need the nurturing anymore because they've moved through ABC. They're in, okay, I've taken care of them, but I still need to have that.
Right.
Same
The book reverses that order.
Yeah, you will.
The book reverses that. Your A's are your top people. The ones that when they hear the name, when they hear I'm going to sell my house, they will go across the room from a party and say, I know who you need to use.
Here's your business card.
Yeah, like seriously, they're the ones immediately giving your name out. The B's are the, hey, do you know somebody? Oh yeah, I know someone. But they're not going to seek it out like the A's will. They're fans and they're happy with your service. And then the C's are the ones that you're going to have to do some work. And you just have to decide where you want to be. So with your C ones, do you want to just refer them to somebody else?
Are they the Twin Falls customer? That you
My Twin Falls
probably can't
customer.
give as much service as
Right.
you
But I
need
can
to.
find her an agent in Twin.
Yeah, you can find somebody that you know directly.
And if she calls me, I may make a drive to Twin.
And that one contact is going to
Yeah.
do very well.
Right. I mean, and it was just a matter of asking a few questions and giving her my card.
And getting out of
Oh.
your comfort.
Right. And that is my biggest downfall. I think it's all of our biggest downfall. Because I'm comfortable doing what I do. And some of these things, it's like super easy. Like, why am I not already doing that? Like printing off the comparable sales at an open house. Felt like a lot of this kind of felt like, oh, duh.
There's a quote that goes along with this that I found yesterday. It's by it says, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act of the habit, it's 2 arrows.
Yeah,
With
Aristotle.
Mediocrity or excellence.
Yeah.
Well, if you're in your comfort zone,
We're
you're in
mediocre.
mediocrity. There's
Yeah.
no black or, I mean, there's no gray area within sales. There's black or there's white. You're moving forward or you're moving back.
Right. I think the other quote, I want to take a picture of this too. The other quote that I had was not the golden rule. We all know the golden rule, right? Is treat others how we'd want to be treated.
Unto others.
Well, so he's changed it and said we treat others the way they want to be treated. It's not about you.
That's the platinum.
So,
It is true.
oh, there's all these other books that you could, as you start reading these books and more of them, you're like, oh, they talk about that in this book. Maybe they're onto something. Yeah, probably part of the reason why we should do that. The secrets, if you want to get better at the Ford questions, Secrets of Question-Based Selling by Thomas Freese, Freese, is a book. Let's see. I wrote down the books here, the 365 thank yous. Do you remember any of the others? He mentioned several books in the book.
I wrote down
Do we have questions from the group on Zoom or anything you want to put in? I can read comments.
Like also focus on your clients and your peers will go away. So that comes like, I guess if we're doing things like for our clients and the fear of calling them, if we have a reason of calling them, to provide them with this information.
Right, because those calls are tough.
They are tough,
But-
if you're calling for a reason and
Yeah.
give that advice and information.
Hey,
how are you? Wish I got some time to put some money.
Right, you need to have a purpose for your call, and it should be something from when you've recently talked to them. Yeah.
They talk
You wanna buy a satellite?
Yeah.
No, I do not want to buy a satellite. Yeah. Yeah, I get it for free. So yeah, we're good. Okay. Does anybody have anything else they want to add? I was gonna make you all do push-ups, by the way. So you're welcome. He talked about the practicing the very beginning with the gratitude that we have to practice, and it's tough. And the first time we do a push-up, you're struggling to do your one, right? And after you do them and do them and do them, how did it take to get to 25 or to get to 100 or whatever it might be? It took practice. And so it's hard in the beginning, but as we practice, it becomes easier. So that's why he was saying with his affirmations and your daily 2 notes and your gratitude. Then
Going along with affirmations, one thing that stood out in here is I've always heard of affirmations and I've done them. A lot of times I'll say them out loud, things like that. But when I write them down, I used to just like do a different affirmation every day. Like, this is what I'm going to do today. Versus in the book, he says pick one affirmation
and do
and
it.
do it for 30 days.
Yes.
The same one, write it 25 times. So it takes that long for it to go into effect, and to have an affirmations partner.
Yes,
You
an
remember
accountability
the story
partner.
of the lady that she's like, I don't want to do it. She was sick in bed, whatever. And her partner contacted her and said, hey, have you done affirmations? And she was like, crap, no, I haven't. So I pushed her to do them,
Right.
where she probably wouldn't have things like that. But it's not pick a new one every day that I'm going to be the best at this, or I'm going to do
I
this.
love that,
I
because like
wanna
you
look-
just, I feel like you're just jumping, you're like, oh, forget that one, on to the next.
Yeah.
Well, because that's part of your RAS, that the reticular activating system, to put it in there, that's the one that only hears the positive. Then if we are, sorry, I was reading a comment from Amanda here. It's really all about mindset, and that's anything with life. I've had Gunnar, her 7-year-old, use the ninja mindset in wrestling, and it helped him tons. So you can do this at age 7. I mean, you can do it at any age, really. So I sat down with my daughter who struggles with schizoaffective disorder. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like bipolar and schizophrenia together. It's pretty heavy duty. So, and she cycles. So the thing with bipolar is you cycle up and then you're way, way down. And you're not just up like, oh, I feel good today. It's like borders on like, they call it manic, because you're just over the top. It's to the point that you can't get things done. You're frantic, really, is what it's like. And so we've started working on I enjoy mental clarity and peace, because she also hears things and sees things. She has hallucinations. We have medication for that, which helps. But there are still times when we'll be standing there and she'll go, can you see that? But she knows that I will tell her the truth. Like, I'm not going to be like, yeah, I totally see that, because that's really a jerk move to do. But there are people who will do that. And because she has to know that what she's looking at, because otherwise she can't move it to her frontal cortex. It just stays in her amygdala and she panics. So trying to cope with this mental disorder is tough. But she's starting to write, I enjoy mental clarity and peace. And I'm starting to see it. Because the other day she called me and she was like, she has a 2-year-old son who makes her crazy, because 2-year-olds make us crazy. And yeah, and he's he's a busy, busy, busy man at 2. And she's just kind of going off the deep end. And finally we're like, well, I said, what does your affirmation say? And she's like, I enjoy mental peace and clarity. I mean, she kind of was like, whatever, Mom. But then she said later, that really helped. It kind of helped bring it back around to where she could go, okay, I don't have to panic over this. I can handle it. So it's starting to maybe ping in there. I don't think it's the fix-all, but I do think it's going to ping in there and maybe help her. Okay. Thank you for participating online. Is there any other comments?
Thank you, Brandy.
Sorry I took over, Savannah.
Thank you.